Hey everyone, welcome to our Asset Management Friday segment of the Passive Income Through Multifamily Real Estate podcast. I am your co-host Kyle Mitchell, also joined by Gary Lipsky. This segment is focused on educating operators, building better systems, and becoming a best-in-class operator. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook group, Passive Income Through Multifamily Real Estate. All right, today on the show, you have Gary and I who are just going to be talking together about a wrap up about our asset management summit. So the virtual asset management summit was hosted in September and October. It was a 14-day event, and it was solely focused on asset management. And we're here to do a wrap up with you today and talk about what we learned and some of the takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about this, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and for us, the impetus was how do we become, best in class operators and bring on the best speakers available to talk about their best practices. And we weren't disappointed. I think over the 1,800 people that registered, I mean, the feedback has been tremendous. So really excited how well it went and can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to host another one in April. That won't only be 7 days because 14 days almost killed Gary and I. But 7 days, we're going to have the same amount of speakers. We're just going to have, I think, 3 speakers per day. So we're still working on that. But yeah, what an amazing event. And it really comes back down to the speakers that we had at the event. They shared so much value, every single one of them. And if you put together one or two things from each of those segments, you are definitely going to be on the right track to becoming a better operator. And Gary hit the nail on the head. We did this almost selfishly to help improve our operations and also become better operators. And, that's what you do when you're going to these meetups or we're doing these podcasts. We're learning at the same time and learning from one another. And this community is so great. They're so gracious to share value and share the tools that they use so that everyone can succeed. And essentially, I was talking to an investor the other day, Gary, and he's like, why do you do these things? You're sharing with your competitors. And I've never thought about all these people as my competitor, and I think it's just how this industry is. Essentially, they are competitors, and some of them also look for the same thing that we look for as far as an investment in Arizona. But I've never really thought of them as a competitor. It's a really close-knit community, and it's all about sharing and improving together. So I thought it was great, and I've got a ton of takeaways from this event.
Yeah. Same with me. So, all right, let's jump in, share some takeaways.
All right, cool. I'll go first. So my top 3 takeaways were, systems to ask the right questions, the LASL asset management system, which Neil Bawa shared, and holding property management companies accountable. So systems, that's what asset management really all comes down to, is having systems in place. I don't think a single one of our speakers didn't talk about how they have certain systems set up in advance so that their property can be, essentially streamlined. But what I learned through the whole thing is that by having these systems, you start to ask the right questions. And the sooner you ask the right questions, the sooner you get to the end result or the resolution of the situation you're having. And so that was highly impactful because asking the right questions is everything, right? I mean, instead of asking your property management company on your weekly call, hey, how many move-outs did we have last week? How many people do we lease up? What's our occupancy? Those are all things you should already know and be looking at and studying so you can ask why. Why is this that way? How can we fix it? Not just what the numbers are. So that was my number one takeaway, is just building the system so you ask the right questions. It is a pain to put these systems together. It takes a lot of upfront work, and sometimes you don't see the value in it. But to be successful, even as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you got to put the work in up front so that you can see the results on the back end. The LASL asset management system, Neil Bawa and Anna Myers, both geniuses, both asset management just gurus. And I learn so much when I hear them speak. And we already use LASL, which is leases, appointments, showings, applications. I'm sorry, leads, appointments, showings, applications, and leases. And what that does is it tracks the conversions from one to another. And again, this is about asking the right questions. It doesn't help if you had 50 leads and 1 lease. You don't know where there's a breakdown in that process. But with the Lacel system, you get to identify where the conversions are struggling. So now you have 50 leads and you only have 5 appointments and then 4 showings, 4 applications, and 4 leases. Well, now you know that actually your leasing team's doing a good job. How can you get the leads to convert to appointments? And maybe they're not getting back to their leads quick enough, or maybe they're not good enough quality leads. But regardless, now you can identify where that bottleneck is and be able to focus on that. And, I say this a lot. I play golf and we go by a motto, aim small, miss small. And that's the same thing with asset management. The more you niche it down and focus, the better you're going to be. So learned a lot there on just how he has his team set up and where to incentivize, because incentivizing can actually hurt you in certain situations where, your leasing team could probably fudge the numbers to get more money for themselves and possibly put in poor quality tenants. And so I learned a lot from that as well. And then the last one is holding the PM accountable, property management company accountable. This is obvious, but I don't think a lot of people do this. A lot of people hire a property management company, and we got this question actually a lot, isn't that the property management company's job? Shouldn't the property management company be doing that? Yes, but you need to have systems in place to manage the manager and hold them accountable. Otherwise, they could just do whatever they want. And that's when, stuff hits the fan. And so if you don't hold your property management accountable, you own the property, right? And then you're not doing your job as an asset manager or as an owner or whatever role that you play. So holding property management companies accountable is extremely key to the success of the property. So those are my 3 takeaways.
Yeah, excellent takeaways. Totally agree. So a couple of my takeaways are, it starts with great communication and follow-up from the very beginning. When we're interested in a property, we talk back and forth with the property management and the rehab team several times. We put together our underwriting, and then after due diligence, we sit down with the team again to go over everything. And then we had another meeting after that, and so it's so important to have everyone on board, and then everyone is consistent going forward with that. So if someone has a task, it's who's doing what, when, and what the task is, and it's always tracked. We track everything, and hearing others talk about that was reinforcing. Obviously, we know it works, but to hear other people talk about that was great. And obviously that follow-up is so important. You have to have transparency, not hide issues. If your team is hiding issues, that's a real problem. And that's a culture problem because it's not a who's at fault. There's always curveballs thrown at you, and you've got to be, as a team, be able to say, hey, okay, this is what went wrong, and this is how I'm going to fix it. Yep. That's good communication. Another one of my takeaways is obviously model after others. We don't have to be geniuses and create everything out of the box. There are a lot of great operators out there doing good things. So let's copy what they're doing. If we need to improve upon KPIs, who's killing it on KPIs like Merrill Callister and are there things in there that we aren't measuring that we should be measuring? So a lot of good people doing good things, and you don't need to recreate the wheel. Learn from our podcast, obviously, from other podcasts, from books, from going to our virtual asset management summit. There's just so much information out there, and that can really improve your business. And we're definitely going to implement some of the things that we learned. So model after others is another key takeaway. So and then we also got to launch our asset management mastery.
Yeah, that was a great program that I'm excited about, and it's about becoming a best-in-class operator. And essentially, we want a group of like-minded individuals getting together and talking about driving NOI at each of our properties. So imagine 10, 15 people on our weekend retreats, just sitting around the table talking about, hey, how can we specifically help Gary on his properties drive NOI? Let's look at some T12s. Let's look at some financials and really help him out to get the best out of his property. And, it's also going to come with an NOI booster plan. It's going to come with Zoom calls and meetings, but really it's a mastermind of like-minded individuals helping each other out to continue to grow your portfolios and to just get them operating more efficiently. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, this will definitely add rocket fuel to anyone's business. And people can apply at assetmanagementmastery.com. assetmanagementmastery.com, and we'll have all the information there and fill out an application, and we'll schedule a call after that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, anyone that did miss the summit, you can still buy the recordings. It's over 40 recordings. And we should have made the price higher, to be honest, Gary, but it's such a great value. We want to keep it out there for people to go ahead and buy. And it's, like I said, over 40 recordings, all the presentations. And then also we had private Q&As with the speakers for anyone that bought the VIPs. And so you'll get recordings to those as well. And some of them are only, 5 or 6 different people, but they're asking these speakers great questions, and you get all that. So we'll link that in the show notes for anyone who wants to still purchase that, but it's a great tool, and you'll get to watch all these presentations back and learn a lot of things that we were talking about today. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, it was great to see the last day of the summit and the following day. I mean, people were gobbling up those VIP backstage passes because of the recordings. They attended a few and saw the amazing content and said, "Oh, I want to listen to the other recordings." So it was great. It was great.
Yep. And then, just as an FYI, April 5th through the 11th, we are going to have the second annual Virtual Asset Management Summit. And we're really going to focus on even better topics. I don't know if we can get better speakers, but we want to bring some of those speakers back for sure. And just really dig into asset management a level deeper. And so every time we're working on getting better and improving on this for you so that you guys can all become best in class operators along with us. So we really appreciate and thank all of our sponsors that were on that event, and all the 850 attendees from the event. It was absolutely amazing. And we are looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah. And since we love asset management so much, we wrote a book.
Oh, yes, we did write a book.
Yes.
Tell them about it, Gary.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the things that we've learned from guests on the podcast and things that we've been implementing. But I mean, this is a legit book. It's not one of those ebooks that are like 25 pages. I mean, this is over 150 pages of actionable steps and things that you can, do to better your business. And it was cool to see, we sent it out to about 10 of our friends to read and get their feedback. And they were blown away by the content. So we just got to, implement some of our edits and get it out there early 2021.
Yeah, January or February 2021. We haven't named it yet, but it'll be an asset management book focused on asset management. So really excited about that. So, great things for us in 2020, Gary, as we're wrapping up the year, and excited for 2021 for sure. But you can sit there and make excuses about COVID and how everything was shut down, but there's other people out there pivoting and really taking advantage of this downtime. And I highly encourage everyone out there listening to do the same thing. We still have got 3 more months left in this year, and you can still make this a positive year for you and your family and your business.
Yeah, you and I continue to strive to learn, every day, how can we be better? And I mean, that's why we do the podcast. That's why we did the summit. And, our goal is to become best in class operators. So we're going to keep striving for that.
Yep. Awesome. And thanks everyone for tuning in today. If you do like this episode, please head over to iTunes or Stitcher, give us a like, subscribe, and review so we can continue to grow this group and this podcast. And we will talk to you next week. Thanks, everyone. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. If you're interested in learning more about APT Capital Group and speaking to someone on our team, click on the link and schedule a call with us. We're here to help, and we'd be excited to speak with you and get to know more about you and your goals. Talk to you soon.